Hello YouTube, Ken here with another Black Desert Online video for you, and today we're going to be talking about this girl that you see on the screen right now, the Lahn, and her succession kit is supposed to be coming out either this week or next week outside of Korea. I'm not sure, but hopefully it comes out this week so you guys can get your hands on it. And I felt like now would be a good time to show you what it's coming and give you my thoughts and share some of my experiences. But before we even get started on my thoughts and showing things, let me just make sure that you know that I am not a Lahn main by any stretch of the imagination. I use her as one of my boss alts, so that's my experience with her, and I've been using her mainly in Awakening, of course, this whole time. And now my experience with this succession has been leveling her from 58 to 60, and I did that pretty much all in Polyforest, so I haven't tried her in endgame content of any kind, mostly because I don't have the gear. I transferred my main weapon and armor, which I can show you on the screen right now. This is what I use for her grinding, so I'm sitting at 176 Unawakened AP and 298 DP, but now of course I use buffs and stuff like that to grind, and with this gear she was doing quite well. I'll be putting some footage of my grinding last night at Poly when I finally reached 60, so you guys can have an idea of how she can clear and Poly at this gear level, and you can make your own mind whether or not you think it's a good change. All right, so let me start here with my overall thoughts on the experience switching from Awakening to Succession. The Succession is not a bad kit. I don't think it was a drastic change of pace. It's pretty much the same kind of game style, and the mobility is still there, and the AoE, the spin to win AoE, is still there. So overall, you're not gonna feel a big impact. At least I didn't feel a big impact as far as having to adjust to a new gameplay style kind of thing. It's not like something like Mehwa, where I went back from this the spear to the sword. To me, it feels like a bigger change of pace than Lahn. And one of the big differences, of course, is the grab they're going to be missing when you go from Awakening to the Succession build. So let's go over the skills here real quick. Let me open my thing here and show you the Succession skills. So forgive me while I use a cheat sheet here so I can know what these names are in English, because I don't usually play on English client, so I don't know. So this first skill here is your Cymbidium, and it does alright damage. It's a bit slow for grinding, I think, but it's a good damage. It does 17 times 732% damage if you get all the hits in, and that's 11 and 17 hits, and you got 50% crit rate and 15% accuracy, and it is a bound, and it's got frontal guard on the first part, the hits, and then when you move in, you got a little bit of a super armor, and it's a down attack also. The next skill here is another flower, and it's on a 7-second cooldown. The first one was on a 5-second cooldown. This one is on a 7-second cooldown, and it's this spin to win here. I'm not sure how the damage is calculated. It says here 684% times 1, and it has like 3 hits, and then the second part he has the same thing, but for 6 hits. But what I do know is that this skill does a lot of damage. I only have it at level 2 because I ran out of skill points, as you can see here, but it's pretty good. It does quite a bit of damage, and it gives a lot of mobility too, so you can use this skill while you're grinding, and you can use it to keep killing and moving towards the next group, and it helps you move around a lot and kill things faster. And then it's 10% accuracy, 10 times, and knock down on PvE only, and it got super armor and down attack. And then we got the Pendulum Kick over here. Is your F skill. This is a pretty good skill. I use it a lot while grinding. Very quick series of attacks, and it does a lot of damage. As you can see here, it's 13 times 1267%. If you get all the hits in, it's a lot of damage. It kills everything in its path, and I usually combo chain after or before the nether flower, and it's let's see, recovers some WP there, and it's a knockdown, and it's super armor while you're moving, and it's a down attack again. There's damage reduction in PvP, damage reduction in PvP, and this is one of the skills I chose for my skill add-ons here. And we talk about the skill add-ons at the end here. I actually took a screenshot this time, and you can go over what I got. Before I forget, let me talk about the buff here, your E buff. It's a 20% attack speed, 30% movement speed, and a 30% resist buff, which is pretty good if you're doing PvP and you want to do that. You're gonna go in for the kill, just pop this buff, and you're gonna be a little more difficult to CC there. And then we got this passive here that increases your dodge or your evasion by 5%. And then we got this skill here, which is your Pendulum Cleaver. This is a pretty good skill here, kinda. It's not for damage, but for the 15% attack speed buff that's going to give you. And it's your left or right and left click. And I usually only use this skill here for the attack speed buff, so I only hit once, and then I continue to my rotation here. And you'll be able to see that when you see the footage of Polyforest. But and I'll show you the skills, how they look like once we finish talking about them here. But skill does alright damage, and the buff does not scale with levels, so that's why I only keep it at first level, because I only use it for the initial hit. But it recovers some WP as well. There's a max level, you're looking at 8 times 1022%, and it is super armor if it's on, while it's on it's off cooldown. Moving on to the next skill here, which is Crescent Barrage, and it's on a 6-second cooldown, and it's got a lot of damage here, but it's a very slow hitting skill. So even though it looks like, it's got 16 hits for 1040% and 8% accuracy, and then it recovers some health as well, 13 health on hit, and then it has some floating and some bound on PvE only. And you also got super armor, down attack, and air attack. Pretty good skill, but pretty slow too. It'd be good if you can stack up some attack speed to make it faster, and that'll be much better. Then moving on to your Spring Breeze, very good for mobility. You can jump quite far, and you can also jump up. I only have it at 2 because that was good enough. The cooldown doesn't really change. That would have been one thing, because you can actually use this skill off cooldown, but the range is a lot shorter if you use it off when one is on cooldown. So I would love to see a cooldown reduction here, but that's not happening. We got frontal guard here in the beginning while you're moving, but not when you hit. In the end, you see there's a hit there. And then you got here 9 times 1400% damage, 50% crit chance. You got a stun here. Is that a stiff or a stun? I don't know. One of those things is some kind of CC. I'm not sure how it translates to English. And then you have a down attack here, and PvP damage is reduced. All right, so moving on to let's do your other passive here, which I didn't talk about. And the passive gives you attack power, which is always great, and then some health here. And you get +1 attack, +2 attack, +3 attack, +4, and then 5, 6. So you're gonna get 6 AP here from this, and then some health. Right, and then you have your, let's see, this skill is called the Salpuri's Purge, I believe. It's a shift Q. Does decent damage, so it's a 100% crit, 6 times 1386%. The problem is the huge cooldown. It's 18-second cooldown, so it's a good skill to get the huge fast hit, and move on to other skills. And it also has an armor reduction of 15 DP. So it's good for maybe to start. You jump in and use this to reduce the armor, do a big chunk of damage, and then continue with your combo. It also has a float. There's also super armor, which may or may not be relevant. There's a very fast animation, so super armor would probably have been better in a longer animation kind of skill, but super armor is never bad, right? Let's not complain about protection here. And you got an air attack as well, and damage reduced in PvE. All right, and then you got this skill, which didn't take just because it's a dodge, and it wouldn't really help me in PvE while I was grinding Polyforest, but it's a 4-second cooldown, and you get a 10-second 12% dodge buff. And this is pretty good if you want to go, I guess, with the evasion build. Combining this with your passive 5% evasion buff, you get a 17% just from these two here. And you can keep it up at all times because the cooldown on the skill is 4%, and you got 10 seconds of buff here. And you got an iframe while you're moving back. So you jump out, you jump back, completely protected, and then you get the buff, and then you jump back in, and you can start wailing on things while taking a lot less damage. All right, moving on to the next skill here, which is Furious Charge. I use this skill a lot. I usually follow the Spring Breeze with the Furious Charge to get a little more mobility if the mobs are far apart enough. It gets you quite far away. And this has got 7 times 1000%. Then it recovers some WP, and is a bound and a stiff, I believe, or this is stiff. I think it's a stiff on his off cooldown. It's a frontal guard while you're on the moving thing, and it's also down attack. Lots of down attack and air attacks. And this is also another skill that I used for the skill add-on that it shows for my skill add-ons, because like I said, I initiate the attacks, and this is going to give me accuracy and attack speed. And then another skill that's very useful is your right click, which you can follow up your Furious Charge with the right click here, which is called Blade Dance, and it's pretty good. It's a lot of damage, 16 times 1273% damage, accuracy 20%. There's a 5-second cooldown, so you can, as long as you're not one-shotting mobs, you can use pretty much every pack, and it's gonna super armor on your first on the second and third hit, but no protection on the first hit, so you're a little vulnerable there in the beginning, and the PvP damage is reduced. And then you got your sideways dodge here that you get from Awakening, your Phantom Dance. It was good before and it's good now. Iframe, 1 second cooldown, and if it's on cooldown, you get super armor. So it's iframe, but if you spam on the little cooldown, you get super armor. So either you get iframe or super armor. Nothing much to talk about here, just a dodge. And then you got your other awakening skill here. This one is Bleeding Hearts. Pretty decent damage, is a fast hit. One of the problems with the Lahn is that she got a lot of long animations. This one is pretty fast. Does 9 times 848 damage. There's a 12-second cooldown, so it's not your best skill, but it's a good filler if you need something to kill things, to finish them off really quick, so we can move on to the next one. This one might be a good choice. It's got super armor and 25% crit chance, knockback, and bound on PvE only. And this is another skill that I chose for my skill add-on, mostly because I was running out of options there. Not a lot of good... The skills that I wanted to get add-ons for, they didn't give me that choice. So add-ons on Lahn were kind of a disappointment. All right, so that covers all the skills here. I believe we talked about everything in succession. And of course, if you're a Lahn main, you already have your pre-awakening skills set up. I'm not going to go over mine because mine are pretty much a bit of a mess here. And as I mentioned, my usual engage here will be Spring Breeze to jump in, followed by Furious Chase, followed up by Blade Dance. And then from there, I usually do... These two I can alternate because of cooldown, and also because depending on if I need more mobility to get to the next mob or not, I'll alternate Pendulum Kick or Nether Flower. So I'm just gonna show you, my favorite statues here, what this looks like. So this is your Spring Breeze right here, and then it goes on a cooldown. If you use it on cooldown, the distance is a lot shorter, and then when off cooldown, you can see it goes quite a bit further, and you can jump up places like this. You can see I almost made it all the way up to the thing there. Let's see if we can jump higher if I choose. Let's cancel. Let's see. Let's give up this skill here for a second. Take it up. See if it increases the jump speed. Oh, see, so you can jump higher depending on the level of the skill. So that's pretty good. You might want to max this out if you want to play Super Mario on Lahn. Now it's not jumping up there. I'm not sure. There you go. You can get up the rock quite easily there. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that because I'm going to be bringing her back to be my boss alt, and I really want damage, not jumping around. All right, so Spring Breeze is pretty good, and if you hold F, she will do the attack, which is this little AoE thing here. And if you don't want her to go too far, you can hit F again at any point to make the attack come out, and they'll cancel her, it will make her finish the jump in the flying thing. So this is the regular length, and if you hit F right after, you can see she will stop flying and land and do the little circle spin thing. And then this, so forward and right click, which is the one that I follow Spring Breeze with which is Furious Chase, is this. You can see a lot more mobility here. She jumps forward. And if you hold right click, of course, you go right into Blade Dance, which is, I think, what I just did there. So this, and then there you go. That's Blade Dance. So if you combine the two, let's see how far I can get here. So you do this, and then this, and there you go. And then I usually follow up, like I said, with F, which is Pendulum Kick, or with the Nether Flower. So it'd be something like this. Boom, 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 and then you start this thing. That'll be one alternative, and then the other alternative would be using the Nether Flower. So boom, 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 and then you follow up this, and this will get you farther away. So if you're trying to, if you're grinding on a lower end spot and you're just pretty much one-shotting or two-shotting things, you can use Nether Flower to get you to the next group of mobs while you spin to win. So usually, before I hit Pendulum Kick or Nether Flower, I do the left. I do a left and left mouse kick button, so you can get the buff. And you can see here that I don't even need to hit things to get the 15% attack speed buff. So you can see here, I just do this, and then I switch back to Nether Flower or Pendulum Kick. Alright, so let me show you the statues here. So boom, so I get boom, 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 and then buff, and then switch to this, and then you can start spinning, continue to spin to win. And that will get you around, and then you're ready for another one of these, and these, boom, 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 and then you can continue this. But you should only need to do the barrage here, what's it called? The pendulum cleaver every 2 packs, because the buff is 15 seconds long. So if you know, if you do this, boom, and then you boom, 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 and then you finish this. The next pack you still have 10 seconds left, so you can continue doing this, and then you can just continue with whatever. And you still have 2 seconds left. So then when you get to the next mob, then you're gonna do this again, buff, and then boom, 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 boom. Let me show you the back and left click, which is Crescent Barrage. So I can show you what I mean about the animation being slow. It takes a little bit to get all the hits here. I have the Black Spirit Rage buff, so it doesn't seem as slow. Let me get my loot here. But if you see, I don't know, to me it just feels, yeah, see? Compared to some of the other skills, maybe just my feeling, now that I'm comparing the two side by side here, this one is not that fast either. I don't know. So it's also a decent skill to use if you want to include it in rotation. The problem with the Crescent Barrage is this one here. Yeah, the problem with the Crescent Barrage is that it moves around a lot, so sometimes you're gonna jump over mobs and miss them a little bit, whereas the other ones you just keep pushing them and going through them. So I find Crescent Barrage a little less reliable, but if you need health in a pinch, you can use it to heal. So it's not a useless skill at all. Alright, so that's all for the skills that I think that I want to talk about. I showed you my little combo here. So let's go over the skill add-ons now that I have, and I'm going to put the screenshot that I took on screen right now for you guys to look with me. So I took Pendulum Kick here for the 8 seconds of 20 AP against monsters. You can keep that buff up at all times, and also a casting speed reduction of 4%. I took that one because I didn't really have anything else to take. Like I said, I was kind of disappointed by the Lahn add-on selection. And then the next one here, the next two on pre-awakening or pre-succession here, I just left from before. I didn't even check them because I couldn't find. I kind of had to make myself take some of these add-ons because most of them didn't feel interesting to me. Maybe because I'm not a Lahn main and I don't understand the class very well. But that was my overall. And then for your Furious Chase, I got accuracy 4% and attack speed 4%. And then we got the Phantom, the Bleeding Hearts here for some armor, for some AP, 15 AP, DP, sorry, and crit 20%, and it's got a 20-second cooldown, so you should be able to keep this up at almost all times with extra 20% crit. The skill has a 12-second cooldown, but your Bleeding Heart buff lasts 9 seconds. So there's another buff that you can get for 10% crit. I don't remember which skill it was. So you can alternate the 20% crit with a 10% crit. Definitely take this one off here. This one is not a recommendation by any means. Neither are these two necessarily. I don't know what these skills are. I didn't really use these skills. These are all from pre-succession. So again, Pendulum Kick is a recommendation, I guess, and your Chase, is this Chase? Furious Chase, I believe, and then your Bleeding Hearts for the crit buff. All right, so I think that's all I wanted to cover for Lahn. I hope you guys enjoy your Lahn when she comes out. I had a lot of fun grinding in Polyforest with her. I wish I could take her to a better grinding spot, but I don't want to spend money buying weapons for her while I'm still getting my gear for my main character. Next up, I'm going to be putting out a video for the Striker Succession when the release is closer to coming out of outside of Korea. But also keep in mind that Lahn just got some changes on the global server, global testing. And if those come out tomorrow on the Korean patch here, I'll make sure to mention those in the patch note videos that I'm gonna make tomorrow morning. So stay tuned for the patch notes video tomorrow. Stay tuned for the Striker Succession video coming out probably next week or maybe the week after that, depending on the release schedule for things outside of Korea. All right, so you guys have any other questions for the Lahn Succession or anything else Korea server related, feel free to post in the comments down below. If you liked the video, I would appreciate if you could hit that like button. If you want to see more content from me, more BDO content from me, feel free to hit that subscribe button. And for now, that's all for me. I'll see you in the next one, and I'll leave you with some Polyforest grinding footage here. All right, take care. And my gear is crap. But man, this is Poly, I suppose. So let's not get too excited here. but my gear is not good at all. So did you get your guardian to level 60 yet? I think last time you telling me that you're like 50, 58 or something, 57, 56, 57. I don't remember. $58? Ah. Nice. Get in there. You should do what I just did. I was doing some questing. Did you get your Chenga Book of Wisdom? If you haven't, you should go do that so they can do some questing. Level up to questing. Wow. Definitely recommend. I got like 50% to level 60. Oh, run, that's the wrong button. 50% to level 60 in like 30 minutes? 35 minutes? Because you gotta get to the level 60, you know what I'm saying? Level 60 is the bomb. Oh, wrong button. Damn it, no. Then you can stop worrying about levels for a while. Then again, those Kaposha earring and ring are pretty good too. So maybe you shouldn't stop worrying about leveling into 62, right? Whee! I'm really loving this Lahn's jump. Am I knocked down? What am I? Oh? I don't know. Don't know what just happened there, but Z buff and spin to win. Can I? Does it have a cooldown? It does have a cooldown. But you can pretty much just chain, I think, this one and then the F spin to win. I think I like the F spin to win better. It's a little quicker, I think. The dual one, the dual click one has a little bit of a delay. Oh, so it kind of changed with the forward and right click though, huh? Let's check it out. Let's see if I do this. Oh, okay, so this is how you're supposed to use this. So forward and right click. Oh, I mess it up, and then you spin to win. Trying to use our other pot. Z buff again. Man, her Z buffs just come up so often. Can you? No. There you go. It's crazy. I feel like I'm always Z buffed. Did he change recently how fast the Z buff applies? Because I feel like it didn't used to be this fast. I mean, the